Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Premiership Game Week 1. All live coverage powered by MK Battery. Let's go through the squads quickly of this opener between Greenbank and West Bromwich Albion. Cody Taylor, Ellie Curran, Luke Kelly, Liam Fitzpatrick, Torbjorn Klaup, Marcus Harrison and Jacob Book-Platt for the Liverpool-based side. And for the 5-time champions, West Bromwich Albion, they have Harry Bestwick, Lucas Chrysler, Chris Gordon, Matt Gilbert, Brad Bates, Ollie Rock, Barris Innall. Central referee for this one, Alan Murray. This should be a great game. Delighted to be joined on commentary by Charlie McClellan. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm really looking forward to this. Both sides, I mean, Greenbank have been fantastic this weekend so far, but this is a massive test in comparison to what they've had prior. And then West Brom, who, listen, they're going to struggle. They've not been able to score goals, but they've been very solid at the back. That double pivot of Chris Gordon and Lucas Chrysler is so good.
Yeah, just shown there. Lovely little dummy to get things going. Greenbank, excellent yesterday. 2 wins from 2. 4-0 win against Villa Rockets, a 2-1 win over Seven Oaks. They look balanced, composed, so hard to break down. One player that will no doubt be crucial today is Marcus Harrison, former West Brom player. He'll know exactly what to expect from his old side. And they're pressuring early on West Bromwich Albion, asking questions of Greenbank that haven't yet been asked. Torbjorn Klaup battling away with Chris Gordon, a familiar battle for anyone that tuned in to the recent EPFA Nations Cup when England took on Denmark. Strong play from the Dane, goes as far as Lucas Chrysler. As for West Brom, they've long been seen as one of the front runners in this division, but after a series of player departures, expectations have had to reset slightly. That said, they remain a strong, well-drilled outfit, unbeaten after day 1 with a win and 2 draws. They'll see this as a real chance to test themselves against one of the most informed teams of the league.
Yeah, that was an interesting decision there on the edge of the area, contact. It was one of those where it was a bit tight. It could have either been Quarup reversing into Chrysler or Chrysler just hitting on the back of Quarup. It's gone in favour of West Brom. Quarup, these are the kind of games that I think he'll shine in for Greenbank. In the sort of, I don't want to say the smaller games, but against teams that will be lower down in the table, he often takes a bit of a backseat role, but I'd expect him to be highly involved in this one.
He's a very aggressive front foot player, and yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. He uses that aggression, that almost intimidation to get the better of his opponents. Just to go through the squads in their entirety: Jacob Book-Platt, Marcus Harrison, Torbjorn Klaup and Liam Fitzpatrick for Greenbank, Chris Gordon, Lucas Chrysler, Ollie Rock and Harry Bestwick for West Bromwich Albion. It's great to see Harry lining up for the Baggies. It's actually the first game I've watched of West Brom across Game Week 1. So intrigued to see how he slots into this system.
Yeah, I watched them yesterday against West Brom, against Aspire and against Newcastle in the afternoon, and yeah, I'm not surprised that Chris Gordon has changed those wing options. They just weren't quite moving the ball the way you'd want to. Especially in the Aspire game, they were very defensive, very pragmatic. It was just dribbling constantly, and that's not really the kind of football that West Brom ever want to play, and especially now with Colin Gordon as head coach, who is such a manager that really admires good football and wants his players to play in a certain system. I don't see him accepting that level of sort of just defensive, pragmatic play style when they could do so much more.
No, I completely agree. Ollie Rock takes it in the dribble We saw, obviously, Colin Gordon line up as head coach for West Bromwich Albion Throstles, and it was almost kind of a non-negotiable style of football that he wanted to impose and introduce to that squad. But with all due respect, I just don't think they had the personnel to do it. But West Bromwich Albion, however, have long been the architects, the pioneers of this free-flowing form of football, so no doubt it will yield more success. Nice switch of play from Jacob Book-Platt. Marcus Harrison trying to catch up some ground, but Lucas Christ are well alert, and very strange placement. Not quite sure who's expected to be where there. Chris Gordon's telling Harry Bestwick to be in this bottom left-hand corner. Yeah, having watched it back, Harry Bestwick just caught ball watching, gravitated towards it despite Chris Gordon's placement. And when you're referencing Harry Bestwick, I mean, the intensity, the speed compared to Sevenoaks will be considerable, that increase. So it's something that he's going to have to adjust to.
Encroachment from Lucas Chrysler. So a free kick in a good area now for Greenbank. I really like the way that Greenbank set up from this. They have like 3 genuinely potential passing options. It makes it so difficult to predict what they're going to do.
They're being brave, aren't they? Jacob Book-Platt on that halfway line, looking to contribute if and where possible in a 4-out fashion.
Yeah, and I've really admired the way that especially Book-Platt and Quarup have rotated. I was saying yesterday, I was on commentary for them against Sevenoaks Greenbank, and it almost seems a bit random, like they just take it in turns. Right, you have a go now, playing in the middle, now I'll go up. I'm sure there is a lot more thought behind it than that, but it's just so fluid, and it's just, you never know what's going to happen next, and it's fantastic. Yeah,
it was exactly the case in their 4-0 win over Villa Rockets, and I said on commentary that game could have gone on for several hours, and I wouldn't have seen a way of Villa being able to break them down. They were so effective and stubborn defensively and just pushed Villa into uncomfortable areas of the court, and that came from that fluidity, that flexibility. At times it's Marcus Harrison in the centre, at times it's Torbjorn Klaup, others Jacob Book-Platt advances up the court. But this is definitely their biggest test, as it's down to Liam Fitzpatrick. Just ricochets kindly to Torbjorn Klaup, but Lucas Chrysler alert to the initial opportunity. These two know each other inside and out. Chris Gordon and Marcus Harrison, both with club and country. Bestwick into Chris Gordon, trying to switch that play, didn't quite get clean connection. Set ball to be contested between Chrysler and Harrison. If you want a reference point as to how unpredictable this league is, score on court A, Leeds 0, Middlesbrough 1. I think Middlesbrough capitalising on a very brave system from Leeds, and I think it was pretty much from their own half that one scored. It's always the risk when you commit players forward in a 4-out fashion. Good territory from Greenbank though.
Very good. They've really got West Brom pinned in right now.
Fitzpatrick into Klaup. Read well by Marcus Harrison. Just struggling to break out this final third.
Yeah, they do move it well, Greenbank, when they get the pace and they get the flick on the ball.
Ooh. Yeah, correct decision from Alan Murray there. Obviously there was contact, but I think a lot of players have been caught ball watching. They just gravitate towards it. It's always the danger when you've got two teams with very fluid systems. But 9.5 minutes in. Very even. As Torbjorn Kraut down to Liam Fitzpatrick. I'm not sure if it was a shot or a switch of play to Fitzpatrick. Either way, it's the best opportunity we've had so far.
Yeah, it just sat up for him so nicely on that reverse spin. I think it was a shot, a goal.
I've just watched it back. It was definitely a shot because he put way too much power. The angle and the gap was never there. So I would have liked him to have seen a switch of play to Liam Fitzpatrick. But a good opportunity nonetheless. Marcus Harrison now invites the press from Lucas Chrysler.
Jacob Buckplatt less involved in this game than he has been in the previous ones. I wonder if that's just a bit of insurance.
No, I think this is exactly how they played against Villa. He's obviously adorning that goalkeeper jersey, which is a switch up from last season. It ricochets just wide. Again, good pressing play from Marcus Harrison, so effective at that form of football. But with Jacob Buckplatt, he'll contribute across the game, I have no doubt. But at the moment, it's fairly comfortable for Greenbank. So he doesn't have to risk a great deal in order to contribute. I think Chris Gordon was looking for that channel down to Harry Bestwick, but it was engaged by Lucas Chrysler. Corner ball taken by Torbjorn Kraut. Jacob Buckplatt now supporting as an attacking option. Ricochets off Lucas Chrysler. That's a good defensive clearance.
Just couldn't quite get that flick to the back post there, Jacob Buckplatt, because there was a big gap in the West Brom defence.
Nice feint from Chrysler. At the conclusion of Game Week 1, we will of course be conducting our series of accolades and awards. Swizzle's player of the weekend, Swizzle's unsung hero of the weekend, Swizzle's team of the weekend, and Swizzle's fantasy team of the weekend. All details and information will be found on the WFA social media pages. You can vote on who you deem to be the top performers from what has been an incredible start to the season. It's a nice switch, no trouble for Greenbank. They don't look phased at all, and Marcus Harrison just weaves his way past Chrysler, so it needs Chris Gordon to take that predominant defensive role. That central pairing of Chrysler and Chris Gordon just hasn't been able to really connect and link up with the wide players. Harry Bestwick has been so isolated. A rare touch for him now. He's going to engage it in the 180, but slightly forced. He's come off the back of his chair and he has to keep that in. He's disappointed. Would like to see him quickly wrap his chair around that. Surely would have felt the secondary touch.
Yeah, also, I don't think the two touch was the right. It was so tight. He was already so sort of high in that corner. the two-touch I don't think was necessarily the right thing to do. He could have gone with the front bumper back into Chris Gordon potentially, or just sort of that half-spin pass.
And this is something that he will learn and develop playing with these players, is not forcing the opportunities if they're not there. Because what was a promising attack is now comfortably in Greenbank's possession. We're going to have our first substitute of the day. Matt Gilbert on Harry Beswick. That was his last involvement, probably for the first half at least.
Yeah, it's tough when you're so isolated like that in a game like this, and he can't really do a lot. And I'm sure he might feel that was a result of, you know, that mistake right at the end there, but it probably wasn't. It was probably something they were planning for ages. And Guinea's had a good weekend. Matt Gilbert, he, especially in that Aspire game, was massively influential.
Just intrigued to see what the expectations are around West Bromwich Albion this season. They have been the powerhouse, the benchmark for so long alongside Aspire. And for the first time I recall in nearly 10 years, they've got kind of an underdog mentality for 25-26. A lot of people think the season or the Premiership will be secured by one of Teesside, Leeds or Aspire, certainly based on player transfers and momentum. Chris Gordon into Ollie Rock's path as patient play, just to engage it in the 180. It's much better. There was a gap there, but Matt Gilbert was well shielded at the back post.
Been impressed with Ollie Rock so far in this game. He looks like, out of all of the West Brom wingers, he looks like to be the one that suits the system best right now in terms of the ability to use that front bumper, quick pick-offs, and then in the right moment sort of take the ball on the full spin.
We've discussed it before, and the developments we saw in his game across the Club World Cup. I know it was a specific competition, but by the conclusion of that, I think he was one of their top performers, certainly the sharpest, the one that looked like he was most likely to score. It's just how that form translates to the National League stage, because he had to settle for limited minutes in 24-25. I've no doubt he'll be called upon far more frequently in this campaign. It's just about taking those chances, but I agree, he has been bright if and when he's got on the ball.
Bit of off the ball, I think, collisions between Fitzpatrick and Gordon. I think that's just what the referee, Alan Murray, is discussing with them.
Marcus Harrison blocked by Chris Gordon. The absolute finest of margins between these two. I suspect it will be quality or luck that settles this. Come the conclusion, that's nice. It didn't quite have the trajectory to push it more down the line, and that secondary pick off from Chris Gordon doesn't have the direction to locate Ollie Rock.
Yeah, just Chris Gordon just tapped the back of Marcus Harrison's chair there. A lot of refs allow that, but it probably is a foul.
Final couple of minutes of this first half. I think 0-0 is the fairest scoreline possible. Both have had some success in the attacking final third, but nothing that you would say was a clear goal-scoring opportunity. On reflection, you could maybe say Torbjorn Kraup's attempt earlier in the half, the best that we've had.
Yeah, that was the biggest chance of the game so far, and even that would have been a very good goal if he'd scored it. corners, I think, are going to be big in this game. Not seen a huge amount of them so far, but like set pieces are in and around the area.
This one's nice. The ones that are right on the edge of the box are lined with that, so it doesn't allow for that third defender. Otherwise, it would be 3 in the box. So there is always typically a clear channel.
Good from Lucas Price there. Very good.
Not sure why Marcus Harrison didn't engage that with a nice punchy front bumper.
I guess, could he not reverse because of Lucas being right behind him? He can reverse to get that forward.
Yeah, potentially. Do players have to go back a little bit to then go forward to generate that momentum?
Yeah, I think they do, because, I mean, this is like why we need to start getting some more players on, because I guess so. I might go over and ask Dan and John over there at half-time.
Maybe they use that backwards momentum to then...
Because I think you do, because if you just drive into it, well, I don't know.
There must be something, whether it's timing, whether it's just a knack of getting it in the sweet spot. But whenever I've got in a chair, generating those front bumper passes, I never get anything on them. And you see some of the power generated by players in the Premiership specifically is such a valuable asset to have. By all means, if anyone in the chat or YouTube stream has an opinion, please voice it. That signals the end of the first half. Cagey, tense. They're just seeming to cancel each other out. Thank you to all that are joining. Myself, Ryan Sipple, and Charlie McClellan will be back very shortly for the second half. Hello everyone and welcome back. Greenbank versus West Bromwich Albion. Day 2, game week 1 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Premiership. It's probably exactly as you would suspect. So close, so cagey, and there has been nothing to separate them after 20 minutes. West Brom have made a change, as have Greenbank for that matter. So obviously conversations were had in that half-time break, trying to influence the performance in each of their favours. Brad Bates on in place of Ollie Rock, Luke Kelly on in place of Liam Fitzpatrick. And I think, objectively speaking, when you assess West Brom and Greenbank, these are their strongest squads. So hopefully it plays out in a really entertaining fashion. But Greenbank straight out the traps in this second half. Say that's a fair assessment, the strongest squads that both of these two have?
Yeah, I think for Greenbank, it depends in what game. Like, I think Liam Fitzpatrick is a slightly probably better option on the wing than Luke. But in a game like this, Luke's experience is invaluable, and Liam wasn't having a massive impact on it in that first half. And also, I think what it gives you is, you know, you can have even more fluidity, because Luke has played as a goalkeeper quite a few times for Greenbank, and so can drop in between the sticks, and that will allow Crarup and Jacob to push up at the same time, which I think could be important.
The difficulty in that first half, more so for West Brom, was that connection between central pairing and wide players. There was never really the channels or the space for Chris Gordon or Chrysler to pick them out.
By the way, I think it's harsh on Ollie Rock that he's been substituted at half-time. I thought he was West Brom's best player in the first half.
Yeah, if and when he did feature, he was positive, but that's something that Chris Gordon and Colin Gordon have to manage across the season, is those minutes and ensuring that all of their players, their wider squad, is as sharp as possible. No angle on that from Marcus Harrison, so Jacob Buckplatt tested defensively, very congested. There was 3 Greenbank players within a 3-metre radius there. One of the clearest 2-on-1s you're likely to see all weekend. Alan Murray once again just talking to the players. I think this is much a psychological battle as it is anything technical or tactical, and that's interesting engagement from Chris Gordon. I don't know if he was trying to control it or look for Brad Bates.
I think it was just a complete scuff, to be honest.
Ooh, a little bit of contact. Marcus Harrison deemed the aggressor. Just edging their way up the court, slowly but surely, West Brom.
It must be a difficult game to referee. Just little, everywhere you just hearing little nicks of contact between players off the ball, and so tightly contested.
Marcus Harrison trying to do what he does best, just dribble it, force defenders into uncomfortable areas. That's a nice reverse 180 from Torbjorn Kraut, but Matt Gilbert, as that third defender, plays a crucial role in restricting it from being a goal scoring opportunity or locating Luke Kelly. Jacob Buckplatt now just trying to force it over the line. I think he's deemed too aggressive in his pursuit of the opener. Some appeals with a big smile on his face.
Oh.
Is that your Gary Neville?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe, but that was reversing in.
It's going to be a quick turnaround for Greenbank. They play Leeds up next at 11:35, so only one game off before they have, arguably, based on expectation, their toughest fixture of the weekend. West Brom with a 2-game break before they face Muscle Warriors. And on the topic of Leeds, they have found that equaliser against Middlesbrough on Court A. Jack Humphreys and Nick Woodward bringing you the action live, also on the WFA's YouTube. Here, so even. I think Greenbank probably will be seen as the more likely to score, just because of this territory and possession in the West Brom half, but everything seems to be a little bit forced from both. Marcus Harrison might get a little opening now. Chrysler and Gordon have to readjust. Luke Kelly just hovering on the edge for a potential ricochet, as is Torbjorn Kraup. Has this got draw written all over it, Charlie, or will one of these two find a way?
Yeah, well, I was asked my score prediction at half-time, and I did say, I think this has got 0-0 written all over it, because I just don't see either side particularly breaking through.
West Brom yet to concede in their 3.5 games played, so it shows that they're maybe trying to ensure defensive stability and sacrifice some of that free flow and attacking flair that we've seen in seasons gone by. But if they don't concede, they won't get beaten. They will be a stubborn outfit for other title contenders. I just think this season is going to be so unpredictable. There's going to be so many shock results. It wouldn't surprise me if Greenbank are right in that conversation and mix towards the top. They're so well organised, and they certainly have the player profiles to beat anyone on their day. That Leeds game will be incredible.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think I'm on it with Ben. I think it's going to be a great game. I just think the power that Leeds are going to generate, it could be, it's one of those games, it could, I don't want to hype it up too much, because it could just be very similar to this and be really cagey, but if if Leeds get the ball moving and Greenbank use that sort of, just that nuance that they have of the ability to redirect the ball and the intelligence when the other team are in possession, it could be like 2-2, 3-3. Could be anything, really.
Yeah. Marcus Harrison once again engaging in the dribble. Across the box, Brad Bates with a rare touch, flicks it over to Matt Gilbert, but too deep for him to capitalise. Again, there's just no connection between defence and attack for West Brom. That's a really good pick-off from Matt Gilbert. It's going to go out for a goal kick, but just to relieve pressure on his defence and maybe engage a high press from this goal kick. It's going to be about moments this game and about taking those very few that come their way. Just completely closed off that channel to Brad Bates, starved of service on that right-hand wing.
Yeah, it feels very finely balanced. Similar pattern to the first half in terms of most of the players happening within the West Bromwich Albion half.
Kraut finds the gap. Lucas Chrysler closes the gap. Had he just hit that cleanly, that would have been the goal, because there was a gap there.
That was a big chance.
There was a gap. Can they follow it up with another good effort? Jacob Buckplatt and Marcus Harrison just communicating on that far side. Interesting that they're both starting in the same position. Marcus Harrison drives forward. It ricochets off of Lucas Chrysler. So close to an own goal. Needed Chris Gordon to adjust at the very last second. Some of the ball had crossed the line, but of course, as per the rules, the whole circumference must go over, and that is the best opportunity we've had, and it was a mistake from West Brom.
Yeah, good 2/3 of that ball almost. It covered that line there. That was a massive, really calamitous moment at the back for West Brom. They do look a bit, I don't want to say all at sea, but they look really like they've been so composed at the back, and they look like they're wobbling now slightly, West Brom, as the pressure from Greenbank is building. They've made a couple of uncharacteristic errors.
Blocked by Lucas Chrysler. Harrison just peppering away. Sensible from Jacob Buckplatt. I would say Greenbank have been the better of the two teams, but this is kind of the form of football that West Brom have been inviting. They've had confidence in their defensive shape and organisation. No doubt they're trying to entice players forward on an overload and then counter if and where possible. But again, it needs those channels to open up to Matt Gilbert, to Brad Bates, and that hasn't been the case in the 32 minutes we've played. Leeds have found a way through, coming from a goal behind to take the advantage against Middlesbrough. It's a lot of appeals, there's lots of communication and contact on and off the ball in this one. It's Lucas Chrysler. He's going to go back to Chris Gordon, certainly based on the shape of his chair. Knows that comes with a number of associated risks. Torbjorn Kraut just dispossesses. Good advantage played by Alan Murray. I love it when a contact advantage is given.
Yeah.
It's so easy to award a free kick. But if there's any sort of momentum that can be yielded as a result of advantage, I'm always in favour of it.
Yeah, I think with reffing, and also you can always go back and make a decision later, but you can't unmake a decision. You can't unblow that whistle. As soon as that whistle's blown, you've stopped the game. Just give yourself, if I was, obviously, I'm not a referee yet, but I think if I was ever a referee, I would try and just before every decision, just give yourself 2 seconds. First of all, to let yourself replay in your head what you've just seen. And second of all, to just allow the game to develop slightly. Is there going to be a favourable break of the ball for the guy that's just been fouled? You know, is that 2-on-1 actually breaking up the play, or have they actually overcommitted players and there's now more space in behind? Just let the game flow for 2 seconds more, and I think you'd see the whistle blown a lot less and teams a lot more satisfied.
I think having experienced a number of international competitions at club and country level, it's without question that the officiating in this country is world leading. It's Torbjorn Kraut out to Luke Kelly. It needed that little punch from Chris Gordon, and Gilbert playing it off the Dane's chair.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. We have some of the best referees, and I think as well, like this weekend, obviously the refereeing team has been relatively short-staffed. We haven't had a couple of the most high-profile refs here. Millie Bean's not here, Steve Crump's not here. The game's still been officiated to a very good standard.
Gilbert trying to locate Brad Bates. It looks, there's been a shift in West Brom. They're looking to have more attacking territory now, and maybe that was the game plan. Lock it up for 35 minutes, and then in the final 5, look to attack, look to exploit. But Marcus Harrison just forces it in Greenbank's favour. Torbjorn Kraup, that is really good play from Matt Gilbert to restrict the 180 or side swipe. Don't underestimate the importance that position plays in just not allowing him to get the angle, get the rotation. Harrison didn't quite get the clean contact, so Torbjorn Kraup takes it in the dribble. A lot of contact. It's a risky pass that from Matt Gilbert. Does find Chris Gordon. It's so difficult because Torbjorn Kraup and Marcus Harrison are very similar players. And you feel once you bypass one, you're going to have a bit of success, but then the other's there to meet you. Nice intention from Marcus Harrison as Matt Gilbert just reverses into Marcus Harrison. Both were appealing for it. But I would give that in the favour of Greenbank. Marcus Harrison was faced driving the other way. He was reversed into by the West Bromwich Albion number 14. Both appealed. So intrigued to see which way Alan Murray favours. Yeah, correct decision from Alan Murray. Greenbank free kick. No malice or intent from Matt Gilbert, but he was reversing, blindsided as to Marcus Harrison's placement, and there's a lot of contact off the ball between Brad Bates and Marcus Harrison, and the play's not even live. It's still going on. You can tell neither wants to yield in that psychological battle.
This is ridiculous.
Final 3 minutes. As both are going to be getting a telling off.
It's been such a niggly game, hasn't it? There's just been very little flow because of stoppages like this. It's just like, just play football.
So direct free kick to be taken by Jacob Book Platt. Probably doesn't translate over the streams, but Torbjorn Kraup, very good communicator, constantly talking with Marcus Harrison. 5 metres needing to be observed by Matt Gilbert. And it is now. Can they generate something? Jacob Bookplatt giving Kraup the eyes. So condensed in this final third. I don't know where they're going to generate the space. It's disappointing. It was so predictable because of how condensed it was.
It's not a great area to have a free kick, to be fair. It's very central, and it's like the perfect distance from the box for the defensive team. But yeah, they didn't really do a lot with that, did they?
Marcus Harrison and Chris Gordon once again approaching the final 60 seconds. Pick off from Brad Bates, doesn't have the direction. Just hasn't been able to have the influence he would have wanted. Would you say on reflection 0-0 is just a fair result, or will Greenbank be disappointed they haven't been able to create enough space and opportunity to take the 3 points?
I think Greenbank have definitely been the better side. So I think they'll be disappointed, but also they haven't really done enough. Like, they've not had any clear-cut chance, other than maybe that one where Kraup didn't quite get the connection at the back post, but no, I don't think they've had the chances. It's not like, for example, yesterday when Aspire played West Brom, they missed a couple of real big sitters. That's not been the case in this one. It's been a much more sort of tight 0-0.
Where would you land with player of the match?
It's a great question. I think Quarup's been very good in the middle for Greenbank. Obviously Marcus Harrison, it's hard to look past him because just everything goes through him. And for West Brom,
I think I'd favour Chrysler or Gordon.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Chrysler, I think West Brom have had to do a lot of defending and they've done it really well.
Yeah,
I think Lucas has been the real standout for me. I think Chris has been, by his high standards, a bit sloppy in terms of in-possession stuff, but Lucas Chrysler's played a pretty much perfect game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He's going to be tested one last time, and Matt Gill puts himself in the firing line. A necessary evil. His contributions have been really important, Matt Gill, but just his placement, his positioning to restrict the opportunities. He knew he was going to take a swipe there, but position there, irrelevant. But I agree, due to the nature of it, very attacking from Greenbank, or certainly more intent, more possession in this final third. And Chrysler has been so alert to the point where there has been no real clear goal-scoring opportunities, even the ones that we have been talking up, no real threat. Now a minute over the regulation time. Can West Brom break one last time? 2-on-1. Leeds do escape with the win on court A, just about, coming from behind.
Quarup thought the game was over. He went over to do like a handshake with Gilbert and then realised, actually, I've got to defend this free kick.
This would be a real upset for Greenbank. Into the 180 of Chris Gordon, very forced down to Torbjorn Kraup. Surely full time is imminent, and that it absolutely is. Greenbank nil, West Bromwich Albion nil. A fair result, you would probably say, based on the 40-minute fixture, but Greenbank the better in terms of attacking intent, but nothing that really troubled Chris Gordon and co. Thank you to all that have tuned in. Next up, in game week 1 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Premiership, Aspire Throstles and Villa Rockets GVG Knights. Thank you all.